We give praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Yah, by way of our Master and King, Yahushua HaMashiach, and we're going to start at John chapter 5 and verse 39. Oh boy. So it says, search the scriptures for him, and you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Alahym in you. So we already know that the whole book testifies the Son, and then how we relate to the Son through it. Let's look at Bereshit of Genesis 1 and 14. And let's see what we can get. Genesis 1 and 14. Hello? Hello? Huh? Oh, okay. I think it was real low. Genesis 1 and 14 says this. And Alahym said, let there be lights in the firmament of shamyim to divide the day from night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and years. And let them be for the lights in the firmament of shamyim to give light upon their rats. And it was so. Alahym made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. And he made the stars also. Alahym set them in the firmament of shamyim to give light upon their rats, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And Alahym saw that it was good, and the evening and the morning were the fourth day. Now when we look at the word firmament, right? Now I'm not finna get into that discussion, but you know a lot of people argue about this when they go to talking about flat earth and all that other type of stuff, because of the meaning of the word for firmament. If my thing would cooperate, it don't want to cooperate right now. No, hold on, y'all. No, I don't want to cooperate. Now it's cooperate. So when we look at this rakah, and it's an extended surface or an expanse. Expanse is flat as base or support. Firmament, a vault or shamyim supporting waters above, considered by Hebrews as solid and supporting waters above. So when we look at firmament, he said he's separating and forming. It's something that has a base or a support. Now we were talking about this a little bit the other day. If we're looking at something that's a base or support, then we'll look at it in this fashion. Look at Psalms 118. We'll look at it in this fashion. It's coming to my head. We'll just look at it like this here. The firmament is dealing with something that supports or holds up. You can get the epistle to Jude too, probably about verse 17. If I can actually get to what I want, maybe we can make something happen. Psalms 118 and about verse 19. Make it 18. Matter of fact, just go and make it 16. Matter of fact, I just use I use verse 12, man. I use Psalms 118 and 12. I look at it like that. They compass me about like bees. They are quenched as the fire of thorns. For in the name of Yahuwah I will destroy them. Thou hast thrust sore at me that I might fall, but Yahuwah help me. Hello? Hello? Yahuwah is my strength and song, and has become my salvation. The voice of rejoicing and salvation is in the tabernacle of the righteous. The right hand of Yahuwah doeth valiantly. The reason why I went up a little bit, and I'm reading verse 15 about the voice of rejoicing and salvation is in the body or the house of the righteous. When we turn around and we look at it, right, he told you that you should sing spiritual songs to one another, making melody into your heart to the master. No matter what we're going through, you know what I'm saying? It would always be wise and pertinent to be rejoicing and keep that in your heart at all times. You know what I'm saying? Since I said that, just go get the Colossians chapter 3 and hold this Psalm 118. Because see, I know it's a lot of, I say, man, I know one of the brothers, he was dealing with a hard thing. And, you know, just sit back and just talk to him and let him express what he was saying. And one of the things that he was expressing, which I understand him fully, is people don't walk in the power of Alahym. We really don't walk in the power of Alahym because our faith is so small. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very small. And it's very, very small because we don't have the confidence in Alahym that we should have. You know what I'm saying? Like Hamashiach said, it said his flesh rested in hope that he knew that the Father would not suffer him to see corruption. He was confident in that. You know what I'm saying? Abraham was confident in the fact that if I sacrifice Isaac, that this man is going to raise him from the dead, because he told me that my seed will be called through Isaac. And if I kill Isaac and he's dead, then this man ain't kept his word to me. So I don't know what he going to do or how he going to do it. But I'm confident enough to offer him up because I know that this man is not a liar. It says the strength of Yasharal is not a man that he should repent. So he's not going to turn. So if he tell you that he had mercy upon thousands of those that love him and keep his commandments from generation to generation, you could trust that. You know what I'm saying? But then you're going to have to trust that when you abstain from the things that are not pleasing to him, coupled with a faith that is unshakable. This is why we sit back looking at it. It say the firmament is a flat base or support. So in all actuality, when you look at the firmament on high, this is actually showing you Hamashiach. This is your base and support. Because then he say he split the firmament to divide the day from the night. So what you sitting back looking at is you're going to see that stone, which we're going to look at, that the people don't want to take heed to, that they don't have a basis for their faith. So since they don't have a basis of their faith, they're going to be separated. It's going to be a sanctification. It's going to be a difference. It's a difference between the children of faith and the children of the flesh. The children of faith being the children of the Ruach. Because all those that are of Yasharal are not of Yasharal, because everybody don't have that same heart of faith. Now, as I told y'all, as y'all been noticing about the last 3-4 weeks, all we've been talking about is the heavier matters of the law recently, because that's what he's been putting on my mind to do. Most High willing, we got this week on the street preaching. Most High will, we alive next week. And then the week after that, we'll be back inside. And then Most High willing, we all alive. That's when we'll, Most High permitting, that we'll deal with bearing the burdens of Mashiach and sitting back and see how we're supposed to carry one another to fulfill the law of the book, to fulfill the mercies of the Son, which he came and showed us, which is one of the things that's a hindrance. When we look at a lot of things, see, we can get caught up in a lot of things and mess it up. See, one of the things, and I'm going to read the Colossians 3 and 12. Y'all just bear with me for a second, because I really want to express it to you. You know, it's a lot of things that we got to do. You know, the last couple of weeks, and then the video didn't dub right, so that's why Mercy Rejoice Against Judgment ain't been put up yet, because the second part's only 6 minutes long. If I can figure how to configure that file to upload it on YouTube without saying it won't support it, I can get it up. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, we talk about the judgment, mercy, and the faith. And these things ought to be done, because this lighter stuff, we can knock it out. We can knock out what foods to eat and what foods not to eat. We can sit back and look at not wearing diverse garments. We can sit back and look at, I keep Shabbats, I keep feasts. You know what I'm saying? This, that, then, the third. But when we get to the heavier stuff, we kind of toss that stuff to the side. You know what I'm saying? And you think that your justification is going to come from the lighter stuff, when you got to have a balance, a just weight, a just ephah. That stuff got to be balanced out. You can't put the weightier stuff above the lighter stuff, and you can't put the lighter stuff above the weightier stuff. They supposed to meet in balance and in harmony. When they meet in balance and in harmony, you can actually walk in the true power of the faith of the living Alahym who created shamyim and the rats, with pure and upright confidence. It was only pure confidence in Yahuwah that would make David take off full-fledged armor and weapons and run up on Goliath with a slingshot and a rock. You understand what I'm saying? It's pure and upright confidence in Yahuwah that would make Samson grab a jawbone of an ass and run up on about 1,000 men. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about grabbing no sword. Or, you know, our days and times grabbing an AK-47, throwing grenades. You talking about a jawbone of a donkey. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to kill all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Don't have that type of confidence. You know, I've been referencing to y'all before. That Hebrews 11 run down all these men because of confidence that they had. It say Moses refused to be called Pharaoh's daughter because he chose to rather suffer affliction with the children of Alahym than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. I'd rather suffer than get off for a little bit. See, that's the type of, we don't have that type of confidence in y'all that you say, I would rather suffer affliction. I mean, be persecuted, have trouble, deny myself more than anything. I'm willing to deny myself the pleasures of sin. You know what I'm talking about? I'm willing to do that. But you know, we sit back and look at, well, I don't want to suffer with nobody. I'd rather feel good. I'd rather do what makes me happy and feel good than not to sin, than to afflict my body. And now I'm talking about affliction like we talked about Wednesday. Afflicting yourself or denying yourself the pleasures of the flesh, resisting what feels good to get what is good. You know, most people not willing to do that, and that's where the difference come in at, or where your faith is based in that. But this is when we read the Colossians 3 and 12. Put on therefore as the elect of Alahym, Kadesh and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, and long suffering. You see the thing that he told you to put on bowels of mercy, because as we looked at last week, the first attribute when he declared the name of Yahuwah was merciful. That's the first attribute that he declared to Moses. This is why Paul is coming down to tell you to have bowels of mercy. Matter of fact, since I said that, hold in Colossians chapter 3, look at Nehemiah chapter 9:27. I'll show you how your Alahym had mercy on you, had bowels of mercy, and how you ought to do it. And you can turn around and look at Mashak when he looked upon the people and they suffering. He had mercy. Get off of them. Take that thing and put it up. Because you ain't even finna start it. I'm going to stop you before you even get started. Make it 9 and 26. Unless 25 got something. 9 and 26. Nehemiah 9 and 26. And it says, nevertheless, they were disobedient and rebelled against thee and cast thy law behind their backs and slew thy prophets, which testified against them to turn them to thee, and they wrought great provocation. Therefore thou delivered them into the hand of their enemies, who vexed them. And in the time of their trouble, when they cried unto thee, thou heard them from Shamyim, and according to thy manifold mercies, thou gave them saviors who saved them out of the hand of their enemies. How many of y'all would turn around and have mercy on somebody that treated you like a dog, killed everybody who you sent to turn them back, but when they cried unto you and said, I am sorry, I repent, you forgave them and delivered them out of that situation? You know what I'm saying? Now you'll turn around and come to Mashiach and say, oh, son of David, have mercy on me. But yet you can't turn around and have mercy on another. See, we read about that Wednesday when we looked at the situation with Stephen, when them people were stoning him, and he said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they do. Because he had bowels of mercy. Bowels of mercy is having a belly of mercy. You know what I'm saying? Remember that Philippians say your Alahym is your belly or your desires. So you'll sit back and look at, if you do like Ezekiel did and you eat the roll and it's like honey in your belly, then the word would teach you to be merciful, because that's all you see y'all doing. When Ahab repented of what he did as forth as killing the man to get that vineyard. He did that. He said, I'm going to still kill your prosperity, your posterity. He said, but I'm going to spare you because you humbled yourself before me. That bowels of mercy. A lot of y'all wouldn't do that if that was you. You go ahead and kill him. You know what I'm saying? But y'all didn't put his sin away, but he forgave him enough not to take his life. You know what I'm saying? When Manasseh, after what he did, and he cried out and asked for repentance, all the evil that he had done work, all the idolatry that he brought forth for Yasharal, he forgave him and spared his life. Even when David stood out in front of the man and said, the man that did that, he should die. And Nathan the prophet said, that man is you. Yahuwah said, I'll put away your sin, but this is what I'm going to do to you. He showed you mercy. That's why he said in Isaiah 55, I'll give you the show mercies of David if you hear my voice and return. So you're not going to get the mercy if you don't return, and you're definitely not going to get the mercy if you don't reciprocate it back. Because you cannot be so proud and hard that you want y'all to have mercy on you, but you cannot show that to somebody else. So what this man's telling you to put that on. How can you say you have been living Alahym and you have not put that on? See, this is the heavier stuff. This is the stuff like, you got to look at your heart. We could abstain from all the pork we wanted. We could abstain from all the shrimps, the lobsters, the crabs. Don't you open that though. All all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Don't eat no dog meat, none of that. Keep all these Shabbats, all that. But if your heart is not right, it's for nothing. You don't want to have no vain worship and servitude. You want to literally become like your Alahym. Come on back. It's Colossians chapter 3. Then he also say, these are all these things that we have to sit back and look at and work ourselves towards to accomplishing. He said kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, and long suffering. When you sit back looking at being humble in mind, that means you don't esteem yourself to be greater than the other. So I want you to come look at Numbers chapter 12 in the law. Then we come right back and look at Matthew chapter 11. And we'll get Matthew chapter 18. Sit down somewhere, boy. Don't even start it. Don't even start it. Ain't even going for it. Don't even start it. What's going on with it? Don't even start it, boy. Number 12 in about verse 1. What happened with you, man? Sit down somewhere. Hello? Hello? Oh, how you doing, Brother Tony? So Numbers 12 and 1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, have Yahuwah indeed spoken only by Moses? Have he not spoken also by us? And Yahuwah heard it. Now Moses was very meek above all men which was upon the face of the earth. And Yahuwah spake suddenly unto Moses and unto Aaron and unto Miriam, and came out ye three unto the tabernacle of the congregation, and three came out. Now I'm just reading how he was humble above all men that's upon the face of the earth. Now y'all should know how he showed his humility in the 32nd chapter of the book of Exodus, when these people done turned around and worshiped that gold. Put it down. Put it down. Cut it off. Put it in that room. Yeah, because I stopped her before she got started, and you getting stopped before you get started. Lizzie, come here. You got show stop. Go ahead, Lizzie. So this man sitting back looking at that, he know that y'all would take out the whole house of Yasharal. He asked y'all to take him out. Even when Korah came at him in the 16th chapter of Numbers about what you take too much on yourself, he said, man, if I birthed all these people. Or what about in the 11th chapter of Numbers when they say, Moses, we hear people prophesying in the camp. He said, you envy for my sake. He never turned around and looked at himself as being higher than anybody else, even though he was the one that Yah led to bring the people out. He was the one who Yah gave the law to, who was teaching the people all the law. He never looked at himself as being greater than his brother. He looked at himself as being a servant the entire time. Matter of fact, I put it to you this way, because I was talking to the brother about this here. We'll run this down. Hold on, let me just do what I got to do first. Let's run this Numbers, Matthew chapter 11 first. Cause I was talking about this last night. We just run it down like this here. I'm gonna show you how y'all do stuff. I'm gonna just show you something how you do stuff, how you sit back and do something. Cause I could just reference it. I may read. Depends how I feel. 11 and 27 or 28 of Matthew. I'm just looking at sitting back, looking at that, because if Moses the meekest man in the whole earth, and he's to stop it, man. Ain't no playtime. Don't start. They not finna play with you. And you ain't finna get it started, man. So just cut it short. Don't even start it. You hear me? Are we on the same page? All right then. Say, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. Now we know throughout this whole book that humility is the greatest aspect that anybody can exhibit. Before we read Matthew chapter 18 and verse 1, I want you to look at the prophet of Joel. I want you to look at the 2nd chapter. I want you to look at about the 11th verse. I just want you to hear something that he said. Because you know, in the days of old, a sign of humility before Yah was to rend your garments and to put on sackcloth and ashes and to sprinkle dirt upon your head. That was a sign of humility or lowering yourself. You know what I'm saying? Now, if he sit back and say you got to have humbleness of mind, you need to turn around and be able to know how to lower yourself. It says, and Yahushua, this is Joel 2:11. Yahushua shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great. For he is strong that execute his word. For the day of Yahuwah is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? Therefore also now saith Yahuwah, turn ye even to me with all your heart, and with fasting, and with weeping, and with mourning. And rent your heart, and not your garments, and turn unto Yahuwah your Alahym, for he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repent him of the evil. So now you sitting back looking at these attributes again of what he is saying unto you. Now he said he is strong to execute his word, because the day is great and terrible. Who can abide it? He uttered his voice before his army. His camp is very great. Well, you know that great and terrible day of Yahuwah is when Hamashiach was up there on that state. Who could abide that? How are you going to be able to abide his wrath? See, hold on. When you look at Revelation, I think about chapter 5, might be chapter 6. When people ask for the mountains to fall on them, they say the day of the day of the wrath of the Lamb is come. Who can stand before him? Now you sitting back looking at the day of the Lamb was also on that state. And if you on the wrong side of it, stop. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Go sit down somewhere. So, again, when you see that great and terrible just meaning awesome in this situation. When you look at that great and awesome day, and it says, who can abide it? Now you got to know when Hamashiach coming back, ain't no turning around for no weeping and mourning. It's too late then. But now you have the opportunity right now to rend your heart and not your garments, and to come with this man in fasting and weeping and with mourning. Now we're going to turn around and we're going to sit back and we're going to look at something. Hold this, what we doing Joel chapter 2, because I can just reference what he said. Just sit back and show you the way to conduct yourself and behave. Matter of fact, you can hold that Joel chapter 2. We'll get back to it. Still holding Colossians chapter 3. But come over here to James chapter 5. I want you to look at James 5. I want you to look at about verse 8. And this also going to tie to what we was looking at in Psalms 118, of which we still holding. And we'll get back to Genesis 1. And Most High willing, take all this stuff, get a nice little spoon, wooden spoon, and stir it up real nice, like the way it meshes all together. And you got a nice pot of stew or spaghetti, whatever it is that you like to make. It say, be ye also patient. Establish your hearts, for the coming of the master draw nigh. Grudge not against one another. You should already know when you hear this man say grudge not against one another, you should already know this from Leviticus 19, that you should not bear any grudge against your neighbor. You should know this from the law. When you sitting back looking at you not holding no grudge, this is showing you having long suffering and putting on bowels of mercy. Because y'all don't hold no grudge. He only holds grudge against those who are unrepentant. We talked about this about a week ago. If your brother trespass against you and he come to you and repent, he say forgive him. You know what I'm saying? You just read where the people turn their back to the law, cast the law behind their back, slayed the prophets. But when they cried unto Yah and say we repent and turn, he had mercy on them and he delivered them. So then we have to turn around and exhibit this same behavior to one another. That doesn't mean that Yah is going to absolve someone if they did you wrong, because he said he by no means clears the guilty. He is an avenger of all those that do anything to anyone. He's not a respecter of persons. You know what I'm saying? That's, you know, the number one thing that people don't realize, man. You commit a sin, the man is still coming to see you. You think just because he forgave you for it, that he's not going to come see you. Then you wouldn't learn not to do it again. You know what I'm saying? If I just say I'm sorry, you forgiven, but then there's no consequence for your behavior, then you feel like I can continue in this behavior because there's actually not a deterrent that you receive to stop you from doing it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't sit back and think about that. There's going to be a consequence. There's going to be a consequence. He's going to come see you in one shape, form, or fashion, or another, and everything could be going lovely for you and sweet, and then that's when the bottom come out. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna happen. It's got to happen. He just though. You ought to take it because you did the evil. You know what I'm saying? So if you did the evil, you got to be able to take that evil coming back to you. If you're not willing to take the evil that's coming back to you, then guess what that means? Don't do no evil then, no. The people don't look at it that way. That's how things work. That's justice right there. That's just judgment. See, that's one of the reasons why you say that people don't deal with the weightier matters of the law, because you don't look at that as being just judgment. You don't think the man gonna come back and see you. You know, it's amazing that we always look for blessings from on high if we do right, but we don't look from evil from on high when we do wrong. You know what I'm saying? You don't look for that. You don't think you ought to get that back. People always say push it forward so you can get your blessing. Then when the evil come on you, oh Lord, why you got me going through this? Oh, you know that fornication you committed? How about the lies you told? How about that stealing you did? What about the hate in your heart? What about the jealousy and the envy that you possessed? What about your lack of faith? What about all those things? You didn't remember them. So you didn't think a sentence against that evil work wasn't going to be executed upon you? But because I didn't bust you upside your head right then and there when you did it, you thought it wasn't never going to come. See, that's how they mess us up. He says, lest you be condemned. So please know, if you got a grudge in your heart against somebody, you condemning yourself. Behold, the judge stand at the door, before the door, pardon me. Take my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of Yahuwah for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. Behold, we count them blessed or happier or increased which endure. You have heard the patience of Job and have seen the end of Yahuwah. Yahuwah is very pitiful and of tender mercy. But above all things, my brethren, swear not, neither by shamyim, neither by the arats, neither by any other oath, but let your yea be yea and your nay be nay, lest ye fall into condemnation. Is there any among you afflicted? Let him pray. Is any married? Let him sing song. Then we just sit back and read that they say the voice of joy will be in the tabernacle of the righteous. So if you're happy, sing songs to Yahuwah. And if you're afflicted and you're down and you're suffering, that's when you need to go pray. That's when you need to pour out your voice to Yahuwah. He say, pour out your heart unto him. He's a refuge for us. You know what I'm saying? Y'all supposed to know it's Yahudim instead of getting down and wanting to quit and all these type of things. That when the things get too hard on you, you go pray. All you have to do is look at him. When he was afflicted, he went and prayed. That's what he went and did. He went and prayed. When y'all get afflicted, what you go do? You know what I'm saying? People make it seem like there's something wrong for you to go pour out your voice to Yahuwah. Maybe, who knows if he'll be merciful enough to hear. You know when you realize you afflicted and you go pray? You know what I'm saying? Or you afflicting your soul by fasting, you realize that's rending your heart. Don't you realize Ecclesiastes chapter 7, we done talked about that when he said, come to him with mourning. And you know Hamashiach said in the 5th chapter of Matthew, blessed are those that mourn, for they shall be comforted. You know what I'm saying? When you sit back looking at it, because he said the heart is made strong in the house of sorrow. You know what I'm talking about? When you sit back and you looking at that, when you see this here, this is coming back to godly repentance, which should not to be repented of that leads unto salvation. You know what I'm saying? Does that mean you're going to be sorrowful every single day? No, that ain't what I'm sitting back saying. Please don't sit back and I'm trying to tell you that the way of Yahuwah is just a constant state of sorrow and sadness and affliction and all these type of things. But yeah, man, there's going to be times where this stuff going to get heavy and you're going to be afflicted and you better mourn. You better pray. You know what I'm saying? Because you sitting back looking at all of these things when you do this is basically sitting back showing that, because he said he set the stars in the firmament. And we getting back to that, right? I mean, he set the stars on a flat base, on a support. We looked at that Mount Ebal on Wednesday, that meant stone or bare mountain. You know what I'm talking about? So this is a stone mountain. Which is a crazy part because Stone Mountain in Georgia is actually got some idolatrous worship up there, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I was told. I didn't look into it, but that's what I was told. They say that's why they don't never go up there to it. You know what I'm talking about? But when you sit back and look at, you want to be built or established on the firmament, which is a flat base or a stone. And we're going to get to the verse in Psalm 118. A cornerstone is a flat base. It's a foundation, right? Just like I told you, when me and D went out there to that ergonomic center yesterday, when we got out there, they had just started building. The only thing they had laid down was the foundation. then everything else of that house is going to be built upon what? The foundation. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at the firmament is basically the foundation of shamyim.
Michael.
Everything is built on the firmament. You know what I'm talking about? Everything is built on Yahuwah. When I say Yahuwah, I'm talking about Yahuwah and Yahusha. Everything is built on them. The sun's built on that. The moon's built on that. The stars is built on that. When you look at the sun, that's Yahusha. When you look at the moon, that's Yahshua. When you look at the star, that's the son of Alahym. All are built upon that foundation. That's what we have to be built on. That's where you can sit back and you can end up having some confidence and show yourself to be the sons of Alahym that all men on this earth might know. Let me read that verse 14 though. He says, is there any sick among you? Let him call for the elders of the body and let them pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of Yahuwah. And the prayer of the faith shall save the sick, and Yahuwah shall raise him up, and if he have committed sins, they shall be forgiven him. Confess your faults one to another and pray for one another that you may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man avail much. You know, that's one of the things right there that keeps people from getting what they want to do, because don't nobody really want to confess what's wrong with them. Now, I was telling somebody this the other day. Before most of y'all even came round, and I knew any of y'all, anything that I ever dealt with or was going through at the time, I would use myself as an example. You know that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know that. A lot of y'all don't know that. So then when you see certain things that when I go to do it, it seems like I'm doing it for a particular reason, but it's better served to use myself as an example. Even recently we're doing it. But you sit back and look at, you can lead with strength and you can show how strong you is and this, that, that, and the third, but you can also show you infirmities. Because if somebody can sit back and see you a real person that got infirmities just like they do, I'm not talking about sinning either now. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about somebody who's dealing with real stuff just like everybody else. Hello? It can help them get through. What's going on, bro? You know what I'm saying? It can help them get through. You know, a lot of people don't want to sit back and show, boy, I got this type of, I'm dealing with this, or I'm going through this, or I'm going through this. As you done told me, you be like this here, you know, coming out of Christian church, you be like, oh, no pastors ain't even finna come in here and talk about no stuff like this. You know what I'm saying? The reason being because they more concerned about how the people gonna view them. So they don't want to mention these things. That's why Paul say, I would rather esteem in my infirmities, that in my weakness, the power of Mashiach might rest on me. See, when you talk about confessing your fault, it don't necessarily got to mean that you sinning. You know what I'm talking about? It can entail that. You know what I'm talking about? But it don't necessarily got to entail that. It can tell like, you know what? I got a problem with my anger sometimes. Sometimes I get a little angry. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes I move a little too fast. I don't think things out. And then stuff don't go how I want to go. You know what I'm saying? It's just things of that nature, man. Sometimes I don't communicate well to my spouse. Sometimes I don't listen well as I should. You know what I'm saying? And you sit back and you look at that. Then if you tell these things to one another, you can pray for one another that you can get the strength off each other to be healed of these things. No. You know what I'm saying? But don't nobody really want to do that. Or you want to pick and choose who you tell it to because you don't want certain people to look at you a particular way. Or you feel like I don't want everybody in my business. Or I don't want nobody to know this about me. But if you say you are part of a body, every part of the body know what's going on. If the elbow is ailing, the arm is going to know it. You know what I'm saying? Say some of y'all, if you ever curl up before, your elbow go to hurt, guess what? That stuff gonna shoot through your forearms. It can mess around with your shoulder. It's gonna affect the entire body after a while. You know what I'm saying? The whole kinetic chain, the whole human movement system. You ain't gonna be able to just sit around there and slide it out the way.
I can't say your elbow gonna affect your pinky toe. You just can't see it.
And sit back and get, but what it end up doing though, how to do it? I'm gonna sit there and tell you like this, because once that elbow go to hurt from the curls, right? And then you go to try to deadlift or squat, you still gotta use that. And then when that's firing wrong, you holding the weight on your back wrong. And then when that go to firing wrong, that could cause you, when you go down the squat, it can cause you to hurt your lower back, hurt your hamstring, hurt your knees. You know what I'm talking about? Put too much undue pressure on your feet. All this type of stuff, because one thing went out, it can affect the whole body, depending on what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Just like that. So if one part of the body is out of joint, you know what I'm talking about? It can affect the whole body. When the whole body should know what's going on, because the whole body will work together to heal itself. You know what I'm saying? So you supposed to look at that when you in Mashiach, you say, well, I'm in his body, you supposed to work together to heal each other. You You know what I'm saying? Not to sit back and say, well, I'm the elbow, I'm going to just deal with the forearm and we're going to heal each other. It don't work like that, man. You know what I'm saying? It don't work like that. That's not effective. That's not effective. All it does is cause schisms and splinters. That's not the objective. Let's finish this Colossians chapter 3, though. I got the wrong book. There we go. Let's finish this 3 and 12. So put on therefore as the elect of Alahym Kadesh beloved, vows of mercy, kindness and humbleness of mind and meekness and long suffering, forbearing one another and forgiving one another, if any man have a quarrel against any, even as Mashiach forgave you, so also do ye. And above all these things put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness. And let the peace of Alahym rule in your hearts, to the which you are called in one body, and be ye thankful. Let the word of Mashiach dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to the Master. When we turn around and sit back and do that, man, I'm sit back and tell you, man, singing them songs like that, man, it can help a long way of helping you get through whatever it is that you're dealing with. Singing a melody to the Most High, it can help you get through whatever it is you're dealing with. Let's look at this Matthew 18 where we're talking about this humbleness of mind, man. Hey, sit down somewhere, boy. Matthew 18 and 1. At the same time came the disciples unto Yahushua, saying, Who is the greatest in the kingdom of Shamyim? Yahushua called a little child unto him and set him in the midst of them, and said, Truly I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, you shall not enter into the kingdom of Shamyim. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as a little child, the same is the greatest in the kingdom of Shamyim. And whoso shall receive one such little child in my name, receive me. So that's what we have to sit back and look at. When he's telling you to rend your heart and knot your garments and come with fasting and weeping and mourning, that is humility. Remember he say he'll exalt the humble and abase the proud. You're going to have to sit back and realize in order to be lifted up, you got to come down. That's what you look at when you see that with Mashiach. He came down from Shamayim, descended onto the earth to ascend back up. He humbled himself into the fashion of a man and a servant to be killed. And then the Most High lifted him up and gave him a name above all names, that is the name of Yahushua. Every tongue should confess, and every knee should bow. And you sit back and look at that he told you in Revelation 3 and 9 that he would cause all those who say they are Yahudim and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan, that they would come and lick the dust up off your feet, that you might know that he loved you because you humbled yourself before these people by taking all these things that go along with the word. See, we don't think about stuff like that. And we don't look at stuff like that because we don't have that same level of confidence to endure that, to stand on the word in the process. So let's slide back over here to Psalms 118. We hit with a little bit of other things, but I just was really coming on with the voice of rejoicing and salvation. That's what them singing them songs, those songs will do in your heart. That's the singing of rejoicing. That's rejoicing in your power. That's understanding what he coming to do. And when you do that, you can achieve what you desire. Verse 16 though, the right hand of Yahuwah is exalted, the right hand of Yahuwah do valiantly. I shall not die but live, and declare the works of Yahuwah. Yahuwah have chastened me sore, but he have not given me over unto death. Open to me the gates of righteousness, and I will go into them, and I will praise Yahuwah. The gate of Yahuwah, into which the righteous shall enter. The gate of Yahuwah is the place where the righteous will enter. Now I must deal with this because it's hitting my mind at this exact moment. Come to Ezekiel chapter 46. 46 and 1.
Stop.
Ezekiel 46 and 1. Let's look at something right here. As a matter of fact, we're going to still get back to Genesis 1. It might seem like we're dealing with a lot of different things, but we really not. Because when you look at the firmament, right, he said that the firmament hold the waters back, right? Then we're going to turn around and we're going to look at something when it comes to Noah, where he opened up the firmaments or opened up the gate to allow the waters to rush out. When we sitting back looking at, I will enter into the gates of Yahuwah and I will praise him, there's something that you have to get for you to even be able to enter into this gate. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I'm trying to establish, so just bear with me. Ezekiel 46 and 1. And it says, thus saith Yahuwah Alahym, the gate of the inner court that look towards the east shall be shut 6 working days. But on the Shabbat it shall be open, and on the day of the new moon it shall be open. What is the significance, brothers and sisters, about him saying that this gate will be open? He said the inner court facing the east. Why would this be important? What y'all think that would be talking about?
Sheep red.
Huh?
I'm gonna sheep red.
Well, let's say that. Now, when we look at gate, obviously this is an entrance, a space, an inside gate, a marketplace, a public meeting place. The temple, the court of the tabernacle. But this is the reason why I said this, or shamyim. So we came to here. Like the gate can be referring to what's in shamyim. The firmament is where? In shamyim. You know what I'm saying? He say, open the gate. Now, when I read this Psalm 118 again, just follow me, man, because the stuff that we looking at ain't for no reason, man. I promise it seems like we all over the place, but it's not. It said, this gate of Yahuwah. He said, open to me the gates of righteousness. I will go into them and I will praise Yahuwah. Or I will Yahuwah. Because that's what Yahuwah means. Judah means praise, right? This gate of Yahuwah into which the righteous shall enter. Now, it says here that the inner court is towards the east, shall be shut the 6 working days, but in the Shabbat and in the new moon, it will be opened. Now, what can we ascertain from that, gentlemen? Anybody? I mean, it doesn't matter, man. All you got to do is try. You never know. You might hit the nail right on the head, whether you know it or not. Now, looking at something that one of the brothers asked me to look at, we know that Kadesh, in this instance, don't necessarily always mean new moon. It also means to be renewed, right? You know what I'm talking about? Because I don't want to say it wrong. Or renewed, to be new, or repair. Now, think about this. He say, in the day of this gate, this gate's going to be shut. But on the Shabbat, and on the renewing, or to be made new, it will be open. And we see that gate can also mean shamyim. Think about it, y'all. What you think?
These parts.
Oh, taking it back to 88, man.
So you never square getting parts.
Hey, 88, 98, whatever. I'm in a whole different zone right now. Whole different zone.
You talk about keep young niggas in there because you don't know.
Who? I've been rocking parts. Back in 88, 98. I mean, the last part I got was like 99. He shot me the Mike Tyson one right here, though. I gotta get me a Mike Tyson t-shirt, too. Y'all ain't got no idea. Well, bear with me. Come on over here. We're holding Ezekiel chapter 46, Psalms 118, and Genesis chapter 1. That's what we're holding, y'all. Ezekiel chapter 46, Psalms 118, and Genesis chapter 1. And we're going to look at Genesis chapter 7 right now.
Come on.
No.
Y'all just bear with me. Think of Genesis 7 and 1.
I said they're gonna get comfort.
Yeah, but it ain't necessary for the comfort. I ain't talking about because of Noah. What was it? Genesis 8 and 1. Genesis, what was Genesis 7 and 1? Where we at? Genesis 7 and 11. My apologies. 7 and 11. Bear sheet 7 and 11. And it says, and the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month of the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of Shamyim were opened. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And the selfsame day Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth and the sons of Noah and Noah's wife and the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark. And there were every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creep upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, and every bird of every sort. And they went unto Noah into the ark, 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. Now you notice that he said he opened up the fountains of the deep. You know what I'm saying? And the windows of Shamyim was open. The windows of Shamyim are the firmament. But let's sit back and let's verify that. Let's not just move too fast. Let's sit back and verify that. Because he said, now, just follow what I'm trying to show you. Because he said clearly as day that the inner court facing the east, the gate would be shut. But on the day of the Shabbat, and in the day of the renewing, it will be opened. So y'all just bear with me as I double check this right here. I hear somebody unmute their phone like they want to say something. Go ahead and speak your piece. I guess I spoke too soon. This thing's not opening up. Oh, there we go. Bear with me 1 second, everybody. 1 second. When we look at fountains, we look at Mayan, which is a spring, which we done already been talking about, that spring. Because what did we sit back and look at? What you look at a spring, what has come out of, what you hear spring, not thinking about seasons, what you think about? Living water. You know what I'm saying? Or well. Good grief. And then we got our other word here. Just give me a second. Okay, that's really great. Just to jump over a whole chapter there. It's like I really wanted you to do that. And then we look at windows. And we look at the word Aruba. Not Aruba, the place where you can go hang out now. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all ain't never heard of Aruba?
No, we don't talk about that.
No, that's a real location.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I can't remember what part of the world it's in, but I think it's supposed to be real nice. But it means a lattice or a window or a salus or a chimney or an opening where smoke escapes. Now remember from Genesis chapter 1 about verse 14, it say the firmament is where the waters are. So now let's swing back over here to Ezekiel 46 and let me ask this question again. Now he done opened up the firmament and he done caused the waters to rain down up out of it. Now let's think about it again, everybody. The gate of the inner court that looked towards the east shall be shut, but on the Shabbat it's going to be open. I'm going to read verse 2 now. And the prince shall enter by the way of the porch of that gate without, and shall stand by the post of that gate. And the priest shall prepare his burnt offering and his peace offerings. He shall worship at the threshold of the gate. Then he shall go forth, but the gate shall not be shut until the evening. Likewise the people of the land shall worship at the door of this gate, before Yahuwah in the Shabbats and the new moon. And the burnt offering that the prince shall offer. That's good, I went too far. Now, looking at Shabbat, we know Shabbat is rest, right? Rest and renewing. So when you come to this gate, you're supposed to rest at the threshold or at the foot of the gate. You're supposed to sit back and look at, you're supposed to be getting rest and renewing at the gate of Shamyim. Because Ezekiel 46 is referring, we in the kingdom right now. You know what I'm saying? We in the kingdom right now. So when we look at we in the kingdom right now, what did it mean about the gate that's towards the east? Let's just look at Revelation 21:1. Let's see what it means about the gate toward the east. Because if you know we're talking about a gate towards the east, this is facing Jerusalem. Where else, what other gate would it be facing? That's where we're supposed to make our supplications to no matter where we at, right? To turn to face the east. We ain't facing Mecca like them old rock worshipers. Them pedophiles, you know what I'm saying? We doing what King Solomon prayed for. Then King Solomon prayed that if we turn to the temple where he placed his name, and to the land which he gave to our fathers, Well, don't you realize the temple where he placed his name is Yahushua HaMashiach? And if he's the temple, then he's the gate or to the inner court of the temple.
Get out.
Matter of fact, before you read Revelation 21, let's look at Hebrews chapter 10 to back that up. About 10 and 10. Let's look at Revelation chapter 10. Hebrews 10 and 10 to back that up. Because you know what the inner court is? The inner court is the Kadesh of the Kadesh, right? The most inner sanctum, which no man can enter into. But the high priest, okay. He says, by which will we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Yahushua HaMashiach once and for all. And every priest stand daily ministering, offering oftentimes the same sacrifices which can never take away sin. Did it not say in that gate you had to bring forth the sacrifices? Now we know in the kingdom ain't no burnt offerings and sacrifices being made there, because you're supposed to already been tried by fire as a living sacrifice before you even got there. He said, but this man, after he had offered one sacrifice for sins forever, sat down at the right hand of Alahym. From henceforth expecting till his enemies be made his footstool. For by one offering he hath perfected forever them that are sanctified, whereof the Ruach HaKodesh also is a witness to us. For after that he has said before, this is the covenant that I will make with them after those days, saith Yahuwah. I will put my laws into their hearts and in their minds, and I will write them, in their sins and iniquities I will remember no more. Now the reason why I read this here, because I had a brother call me last night. And he said the same thing that when we were talking with them dudes in the street about how they say the new covenant is not in effect. He said the same thing to me. Because see, I'm going to tell y'all something. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's somebody who see this video later or everybody who's listening. A lot of y'all don't deal with Hebrews. So it's a lot of doctrines, discussions, and teachings that when y'all may hear them for the first time, y'all think they knew. You know what I'm talking about? But in actuality and in truth, some of this stuff is stuff that dudes have been arguing about for years. I will give you an example. When that brother say the new covenant is not in effect, that is a standard prevailing doctrine amongst Hebrew Israelites across the whole world. Y'all may not know that because you've never heard it. I've heard it from numerous dudes that they say, see, because it says that you shall no longer teach one another know Yah, but they shall all know us. And they say, well, see, brother, we still teaching people, so the new covenant is not in effect. And you don't understand it, that if you say the new covenant is not in effect, you saying that nobody has a chance to get the Ruach HaKodesh and your sins are not forgiven. That is a serious thing to say, because somebody who don't know no better, if you tell them that, they're going to think, well, what did Yahushua die for? What's the purpose of me abstaining from sin if he just going to straighten it out in the kingdom? That's not a light matter you just sweep under the rug. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, you want to know something that niggas be arguing about? Stuff that we didn't look at recently, like, okay, I done seen the thing about honey before. When I was like maybe 2012 or 13, just never really looked into it. Maybe even before then, because actually preaching to people, like an actual congregational group of people, was not something that was on my radar, so it wasn't nothing that I would think about looking into. Dudes been arguing about that for years. Dudes been arguing for years if chicken and turkeys are unclean and lawful to eat. Dudes argue about tape-ups and shaving your beard and fades. They argue about it for years. You know what I'm saying? And most of the people that you see argue about these things are dudes that deal in Hebraic thought. Most of y'all don't know about the Hebrew roots movement or the Hebraic roots movement. When you're dealing with dudes in that movement, it's a lot different than probably what you used to. So when you come across the stuff and like somebody might come and ask me about something, and they be like, okay, because I heard this, not knowing, well, I done seen that years ago. Because these dudes have knockdown drag-outs about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I done seen dudes argue for 6-7 hours straight about tape-ups and beards. Like straight up. Like going in about it. Going in about it. Dudes argue about can women wear pants. They argue about, but when you don't deal with other Hebrews and you don't sit down and chop it up with them, you're not going to know. We looking at something right now because Will and Troy asked me to look at it. As a son, they looked at it about a dude that they know and respect. So about looking at counting the days by the sun versus the moon. Now, if we were to bring this to y'all, this would seem like this is something new. But in actuality, because I've been peeping it here and there, Dudes been arguing about this for a long time. You know what I'm saying? About counting the days versus, because when you count the days by the sun, which I know this is accurate, your month gonna be 30 days every time. You know what I'm saying? When you count the days by the moon, it could always be from anywhere from 28 to 31 days possibly. You know what I'm talking about? And that's just real. That's just sitting back knowing that just on because you got the Arabs count their months by the moon. You know what I'm saying? Even the Chinese count their months by the moon. Most of y'all don't know that. It's a lot of cultures, they have their own calendars. You know what I'm saying? You might see that most people deal with the Gregorian calendar that you're used to. But if you actually go to these other countries, they still recognize their calendars. You know what I'm saying? Because I think if it wasn't a new moon that just passed, it was a new moon from the previous month where the Chinese New Year came in. And you know the NBA represents the Chinese New Year every year. They had the teams wear specific jerseys and everything. Hey, stop. Sit. You know what I'm saying? They still do that. The Arabs still keep, you know what I'm saying? That's how they set Ramadan and all of that. You know what I'm saying? But we don't know that. You don't really know that these other cultures do these things. You know what I'm talking about? Hello? Shalom. You know what I'm saying? You don't really know these other cultures do this. So it's foreign to you. Most of y'all ain't never read the book of Enoch. I don't fool with it personally. You know what I'm talking about? But the book, it's a lot of brothers who go by the book of Enoch, which is a solar calendar, which is in it. You know what I'm talking about? Stop. So if we were to go to talk about this, to some of y'all, you would think that this is a great revelation. When in actuality, this stuff been argued about for years. You know what I'm saying? And most of the time what don't happen is niggas so busy trying to argue with each other instead of trying to come to a consensus that we can have a meeting of the minds, because niggas ain't really trying to come together.
No.
Niggas really trying to make it seem like I know more than him, I know more than him, I got the best doctrine, I know the word better than him, when it's never about that. This is not a competition. That's what messed people up. They think this is a competition. You know what I'm saying? That's why Paul told you don't let your faith stand in men, but in the power of Alahym. That's what messed people up. That's why you say, are you of Apollos? Are you of Paul? Are you of Cephas? Who is Cephas? Who is Paul? But whom you heard the word from? Is Mashiach divided? Because they want to argue about who they going to get the word from or who know the word better, thinking that y'all only giving information to a particular person. You know what I'm talking about? When the man tell you we prophecy in part and we know in part. This man can give a word to one man about a topic and give a word to another man about a different topic and give another word to another man about a different topic. And most our women, when time go on, the topic that he gave to this man, now he'll turn around and give it to this man and vice versa. So everybody get it. But one of the biggest problems why a lot of stuff don't get ran because niggas feel like I ain't building with nobody else. You know what I'm saying? That I can't build with nobody else. There's no shame in that.
I'll leave it alone.
There's no shame in that. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't sit back and look at Will and say, man, check out what the brother talking about and let me know what your take is from it. I ain't gonna be like, man, I ain't looking at that nigga. Screw that nigga. I don't think like that. You know what I'm saying? All right, let me see what the dude talking about, because I done talked to the man who in the video before. He's a cool dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't this nigga. I done talked to this dude. Real cool dude. You know what I'm saying? He knowledgeable on the things that he deal with. He looking at something from a perspective. Let's see what he talking about. Then we do our own research into it and look into it. That's what mess niggas up. I'm gonna tell y'all this one time and one time only. I'm talking about tonight anyway, not forever. You know what I'm saying? Acts 17 and 11 say you should search the scriptures daily to see if these things are so. But it just ain't got to deal with scriptural stuff. You ain't supposed to take a man's word for nothing. You supposed to go look that up for yourself. Even if you know or believe that that man would not lie to you or give you wrong information, do you know how lazy that is for you to sit back and not double check somebody's story? Do you know that's not disrespectful for you want to check their story? If I told you about something and you say, well, bro, where you got that from? Why would I be offended that you asking me where I got that from? Why wouldn't I even let you know where you can find it at so you can see for yourself? See, I'm gonna sit back and tell you that something, man. That's that Christian church stuff, man. You want to get in all that stuff when you get lazy with it. That whatever the teacher say, that's what's going. You don't even got enough oomph and gumption about yourself to go see for yourself. You're supposed to look and go see for yourself.
Yeah.
You gotta make sure that what he said was correct. You got to do that. You just can't take somebody's word for something. Because what if they looked at it and it was wrong? You know what I'm saying? And what if they overlook something and you could come to them and say, hey, brother, you know, I remember what you said now, and I went and looked at it. What about this right here? And he was like, oh, man, I'm glad you called that because the book say iron sharpens iron. You know what I'm saying? So does a man the countenance of his friend. So that's to keep each other sharp. Ain't no offense in that. Because and I'm saying this because I already felt like that. But what the brother was saying in the video, are we trying to be a card or are we trying to be separate organizations over here that we sit back? Just because you don't fellowship with each other don't mean that you're not together. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean we got to pack up and go to Detroit or pack up and go to California, pack up and go to New York or pack up and go to Georgia and be with certain people. But we all supposed to be on the same page. But if people sit back and look at they not on the same page, and I'm talking about in general, because I see that with a lot of Hebrew, period. You know what I'm talking about? Dudes ain't really trying to rock with everybody. Like there is an organization, I done told you about it before. They say, boy, if it don't come from them, it's not of the Lord. They say everybody got to come up under them. And if you ain't brought up under them, you ain't getting no word. That's not book. You know what I'm saying? That's not book. Everybody can glean from everybody. Like I told y'all before, when Paul came up to Jerusalem to meet the apostles and they were preaching, you thought, oh, I ain't listening to them preach. I'm going to go somewhere else till they finish. You know what I'm saying? But the book say, let the prophets speak one by one that all might learn and all might be comforted. When he say all might learn, does that mean, is that excluding the other prophets that's sitting there listening to him? No, it's not. You know what I'm saying? No, it's not. So we have to look at that, understand that, grasp that, and know that. You know what I'm saying? I just had to express that real fast. Verse 18. Now therefore, where remission of these is, there is no more offering for sin. So the reason why we say that is, if dudes say the new covenant is not in effect, then a Mashiach offered himself for nothing, which means he got to come back and offer himself again. Because he say, well, remission of these, there's no more offering for sin, right? So if the new covenant is not in effect, ain't no, that means your sin, Steve, that mean that man got to come back and die again. You see the stupidity in that thinking. Now, Todah, the brother we were speaking to, I think he caught it. You know what I'm saying? And the one thing I respect about him, I told him, I say, I'm not reading every verse, but I'm saying, I'm telling you where the verses is at so you can go read them. He say, don't worry, brother, I'm writing them all down. And all I can say is, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? I didn't tell him how to write them down. I'm throwing them out. The brother say, I'm writing them all down. Because I'm going to double check what you're talking about. I know it say what it say, but I'm going to still go back and look to make sure that it say what you said it said. And line this up so I can get an understanding. Because all you can do is put the word out there. Then a man got to take it in and you pray y'all open his heart to give him some understanding that he can see the will of Yahuwah. Because at the end of the day, when you speaking the word, you trying to get the people to see Yahushua, which is to see Yahuwah, not to see you. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we get caught up on the man. And you need to be caught up on the man. You know what I'm telling you? That's who you need to be seen. He said, having therefore, brethren, boldness to enter into the Kadesh by the blood of Yahushua, by a new and living way which he have consecrated for us through the veil, that is to say his flesh, and having a high priest over the house of Alahym. And you know what a veil was? You go look at Numbers chapter 9, if I'm not mistaken, the veil is in the inner sanctum of the temple. That's why you see when he died, what happened? The veil in the temple rent. Now the people can actually be able to come into the inner court. Because it just said the inner court to be shut. Now you can come into that inner court. You can come into the sun, into that inner sanctum. Now the gates of righteousness have been opened. What is the righteousness of Yahuwah? The righteousness of Yahuwah is faith. What did you receive of faith? The Ruach HaKodesh. He that believed on me, as the scriptures have said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. This he spake of the Ruach HaKodesh, that those that believe on him should receive. Because the Ruach HaKodesh had not yet been given, because Yahushua had not yet been glorified. So when we look at coming into that inner gate on the Shabbat and on the new moon, we looking at coming into the sun to get rest and to be made new. You understand what I'm saying? By a new and living way. That new way is the way of Kadesh. That new way is what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. You have never went this way before. Remember that in that Joshua? You ain't never went this way before. I'm coming to show you to go in a way you ain't never went before. You ain't never went in a way of afflicting your flesh to abstain from sin that you might live. You ain't never went in that direction before. You know what I'm talking about? Yahushua came to show you. Get Romans chapter 8 before we come to Revelation 21. 8:1. You ain't never went that way before. We doing something that we ain't never did before.
Mama.
Be quiet. No.
What's it gonna? What's it gonna?
There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Mashiach Yahusha, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Ruach. For the Torah of the Ruach of life and Mashiach Yahusha have made me free from the Torah of sin and death. For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, Alahym sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin condemned sin in the flesh, that the righteousness of the Torah might be fulfilled in us, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Ruach. This is a way, you ain't never walked that way before. You ain't never went that way before. This is a new and living way. You ain't never went that way before. That's why you say I'm opening up the inner gate on the new moon or the renewing. That's why you say be renewed in the ruach of your mind, that you be not conformed to the ways of this world, but that you should be renewed in your mind.
No.
And that you should put off the deeds of the old man and be renewed in the ruach of your mind. You must be born again. Only way he say, you will not enter into the kingdom of shamyim unless you be born again. Ain't that what he said? He said, take up your stake and follow me. He said, he that loseth his life shall save it. So he's telling you, you got to die. Because he say, open this gate on the Shabbat. So only those who have entered in the rest and been made new are going to be at that threshold, at that gate.
Be quiet.
Because at the opening of that gate is the rushing of the Ruach. The reason being, because of the twinkling of an eye, you shall be changed. Flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of shamyim. You ain't going to be worshiping at the threshold of that gate, and the gates of shamyim ain't been opened up under you. You know what I'm talking about? Remember we looked at that there, he said he would pour out waters out of shamyim like with buckets. That's what he told you in Numbers 24th chapter. Right there in the Torah, that's what he, come over here in number 24 so you can see it, just so you know I ain't just talking. I don't want y'all to think I'm just talking. Let me find the verse that it is. We're going to start to sweat now. 24:7. Make it 24:5. Make it 4. That's even better. 24:4. He has said, which heard the words of Alahym, which saw the vision of the Almighty falling into a trance, but having his eyes open. How goodly are thy tents, O Jacob, and thy tabernacles, O Yasharah. As the valleys are they spread forth, as gardens by the riverside. You see what he said now? He said the tabernacles or the house of Yasharah are as valleys spread forth and as gardens by the riverside. We just talked about it about 3-4 weeks ago. You know about the garden that's by the riverside. Remember, it's the increasing, rapid fruitfulness. I'm forgetting one of them. You know what I'm saying? Remember how he said those who meditate on his law will be like trees planted by the waters. Remember all that there? And then we sit back and told you how good is our tabernacle. And you ain't sitting back realizing Hamashiach is the house that's set by the rivers. How good is that of a place to dwell? Where do you think that temple at and that gate you coming up to dwell in? By the water. That's why he say those that are thirsty who want to drink out the water of life, come and drink. You know what I'm talking about? He said, as the valleys are they spread forth, as the gardens by the riverside, as the trees of a line of aloes which Yahuwah have planted, as cedar trees beside the waters. He shall pour water out of his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters, and his king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted. You see how you say he poured water out of his buckets and his seed will be water? You even sit back and realize, even when you sit back and look at Noah them in the ark, he poured out water out of his buckets. His seed was water because it was 8 of them was circumcision. That seed was water. They were protected because they were in that ark. You know what I'm talking about? But they sit back showing you what? Seed being water, because you sit back and look at it. He said, except the corn of wheat fall on the ground, it abide alone. But if it die, it do what? Bring forth much fruit. And what did he turn around and do? Pour water out of his buckets, because he poured the Ruach HaKodesh, the raise Mashiach from the dead. Now you turn around and you look at it, that Noah's flood. Come over here to 1 Peter chapter 2, because I ain't just going to say it's a form of baptism. I'm going to let the book tell you. 1 Peter chapter 3, my apologies, not chapter 2. 1 Peter 3 and 18. 1 Peter 3 and 18. For Mashiach also have once suffered for sins, the just for the unjust, that he might bring us to Alahym, being put to death in the flesh, but being quickened by the Ruach, by which also he went and preached unto the Ruachs in prison, which sometime were disobedient, when once the long suffering of Alahym waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was preparing, wherein few, that is 8 souls, were saved by water. The like figure whereunto even baptism doth also now save us, not the putting away of the filth of the flesh, but the answer of a good conscience toward Alahym by the resurrection of Yahushua HaMashiach. Everybody say, open up the gates of righteousness unto me and I'll come in. Pour that water unto me and I'll come in. Because what you said that, look at that, immersion does not put off the filth of the flesh, nor is it going to stop the war between the ruach and the flesh, of which you must overcome. It gives you a good conscience that know that you saying that I'm dying to sin to be quickened by the ruach, like Mashiach died for our sins, but was made alive through the resurrection. That's what the immersion is showing you. You understand what I'm telling you? That I'm sitting here saying that I'm going to mortify my members and no longer live the way that I lived before, but I'm going to walk in newness of life by walking as the Son walked, because he showed me a way which I have never walked before. And how is that going to happen? Because he said that flood, because he said he opened up the buckets, right? He opened up shamyim, he poured the water out, right? So this was a form of immersion, right? And you know immersion is supposed to lead to repent, be immersed in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, that you might receive remission of sins, and that Alahym might give you the Ruach HaKodesh. So you sit back looking at him pouring that water down and opening up the firmament or the gates to let the water of Shamahim coming down was showing you how he was going to pour the Ruach on us later. Only those who went into the ark and circumcised their hearts and was immersed in the man death. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're going to sit back and look at. That's why it's imperative that we want to be able to enter into that gate that looked to the east. Because where's the tabernacle of Alahym? He said how goodly are their temples. He said he would make New Jerusalem as the Garden of Eden, the paradise of Alahym. He that overcome, I will cause him to dwell in the paradise of Alahym. So that's where we sit back and we look at this. And when we look at the firmament in Shamahim, when we look at it when it's raining, the rain is coming from the firmament. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the rain coming down from on high, that in your mind should be clicking, and your thought process is, this is the receiving of the Ruach. You know what I'm saying? I need to sit back when it rains. This is reminding me that he's sending down rain to water the seeds that are in the ground. Because the seeds that are in the ground have died. And when they die, they'll bring forth much fruit. So now I can sit back and look at that. I need to be dying. And that when I die and resurrect, I can bring forth what? The fruits of the Ruach. Joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, meekness, love, kindness, faith, all these things. Because those who are Mashiach have done what? Crucified their affections and lust. There's no Torah against the things that are of the Ruach. Because the things that are of the Ruach are what is of the Word, which is what is of your Alahym. That's why you say, I will enter into these gates. Open these gates. Open up Shamahim to me that I might come into them. Your desire is to meet your Maker in where? In Shamahim. He said he will come down from Shamahim, just like we talked about a couple weeks ago, and we will ascend up in the sky and meet him. So all intents and purposes, you want to meet him in the firmament, because this is where your foundation is built. It's built on a rock. You know what I'm saying? It's built on a flat space that can't be moved. You know what I'm saying? If we don't sit back and look at to be built upon that, then how can we ever seek to attain the things that we claim that we desire? That's how it happened to you. Come on back over here to Revelation 21:1. Man, hush that noise. Sounding like an old black woman at a funeral. Revelation 21:1. And I saw a new Shamahim and a new Arats. For the first Shamahim and the first Arats were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, Yuchanan, saw the Kadesh city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Alahym out of Shamahim, prepared as a bride adorned for a husband. And I heard a great voice out of Shamahim, saying, Behold, the tabernacle of Alahym is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and Alahym himself shall be with them, and be their Alahym. And Alahym shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. You see how he said they're coming to the gates of the new moon and worship, or things that will be renewed, old things are gone. I'm going to make it new. And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, Write, for these things are faithful and true.
Pick it up.
Now we know when we sit back and you enter into that place, boy, you entering in the rest right now. You entering in the rest right now. You entering in the rest right now. You entering in the rest. So you sit back and realize when you coming into that inner gate, you entering in the rest, which goes back to what you say, because no man need comfort, right? And I will send you the comforter, which is the Ruach HaKodesh. So how can you be able to even enter into that inner gate in Ezekiel 46? And you haven't entered in the rest yet. You haven't died. You haven't been born again. That's why he say, open up the gates. Open up the gates of righteousness. Open up shamyim, that I might receive the Ruach HaKodesh, that I might become one with the Son and dwell with him. 1 John 5 and 17. Then we'll come back to Psalms 118. I wasn't expecting to go in this direction that long, but I told all y'all nonetheless. Make it 16. 1 John 5 and 16. If any man see his brother sin a sin which is not unto death, he shall ask, and he shall give him life for them that sin not unto death. There is a sin unto death. I do not say that he shall pray for it. All unrighteousness is sin, and there is a sin not unto death. Yes, there are sins that you can do that you wouldn't be killed for. You know what I'm saying? You got certain things with discrepancies with people's materials and matters. You know what I'm saying? Offending your brother, like upsetting your brother. That's not a sin unto death. You know what I'm saying? The book tell you, okay, don't be a talebearer. That's not a sin unto death. You know what I'm talking about? But lying is a sin unto death. Stealing is a sin unto death. You know what I'm talking about? Adultery and fornication are sins unto death. He said all unrighteousness is sin. Anything that's right is a transgression. You know what I'm talking about? That's not right, that's a transgression. But he said, you know what? It's not unto death though. You know what I'm talking about? So you got stuff you can do, you're not going to die for it, you just wrong. You know what I'm saying? But nobody really let people know that there's a delineation between the two. Because most sins that people commit, you won't die for. You know what I'm saying? I think it was a picture somebody put up of a dude who played in Creed and some other black dude, and he holding dude's head. I guess it's like a real affectionate and intimate photograph, and I seen some people I know were going back and forth about it. And you know what I'm saying? And the thing that I sit back and realize is
Michael,
there's a real live attack on black male masculinity. You know what I'm saying? That they don't see. A lot of people realize they like, why you can't be judging people's life and this, that, there, and the third. You know, I'm a Christian, and like this here, like it's somebody I know that say they're a Christian, but they be liking lesbians, like pictures of lesbians. You know what I'm saying? That sends a mixed message to people. Like you telling people you love Jesus, you love God, but you cool with somebody who's going against His order. Now their framework is everybody sin, so why pinpoint one sin over the other? When for most black men who's sick of seeing the stuff that they seeing, it ain't even necessarily pointing out a nigga's a faggot. You know what I'm saying? It's sitting back looking at like, nigga, this gonna make my son think it's cool to be a Nancy boy or a faggot. I told you the other day, I had a nigga shake my hand the other day. I was offended. Cause nigga shook my hand. I stuck my hand out to shake this man's hand, and this man grabbed my front 3 fingers. You don't shake no man's hand like that. First thing I thought in my head is, that nigga might be gay. You know what I'm saying? The reason being because as a man, we taught something about when a man comes shake your hand. You know what I'm saying? Now you got some men handshakes are so strong they'll crush your whole hand. Then you got some men handshake that are kind of soft, so you'll take it as being weak. Then you got some men who handshake is not too hard, it's not too soft. But as a man, you taught to give a firm handshake. You know what I'm saying? Cause you want the person to know I'm a man. I stuck my hand out to this nigga. This nigga grabbed my first 3 fingers and shook them. That's something women do. You know what I'm saying? I'm for real though. That doesn't mean that the person is actually gay. But in my opinion, I think you're homosexual. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't no grown man shaking nobody's hand like that. It's one thing when you reach for a dap. You know what I'm saying? To give nigga, because you gonna boom. And I can see like this, but even still, you got a good lock on all fingers though. On all 4. When you come through with it, it's a lock right there. You know what I'm saying? But when I stick my hand out like this here, I ain't sticking my hand out for the lock. I'm sticking my hand out for a handshake. Nigga grab my first 3 fingers. I say, boy, that nigga there might be a faggot.
Down and be quiet.
You know what I'm saying? This what, maybe it's because I'm old.
Be quiet.
He said you felt the same way. Well, he said he ain't old, so, but,
I would've pulled back, I would've, ain't
you
shaking.
know what I'm saying? But it calls you, but the reason being because black masculinity has been broken down in this whole society. It's not cool to be a strong black man no more. You know what I'm saying? Now don't get me wrong, as a man, you still got to know how to be gentle and kind. You know what I'm talking about? You still got to know how to do that. You know what I'm saying? You can't be unbalanced with it. You know what I'm saying? But to be a man's man, that ain't acceptable no more. That's not acceptable anymore. You know what I'm saying? To be a stand-up man, these niggas won't, well, guess what, man? These niggas want you to wear dresses, sit down and pee. Like when I got out and I seen these niggas with the tape up, with the locks, like with that space on it, I'm like, what's up with that? Cause at first I seen bullbaggers with it, and I was wondering like, what's up with that? Then I see dudes with it. I'm like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? I seen Lil Wayne get on stage with tiger leggings on. Will Smith's son is the face of Louis Vuitton women's wear. And ain't nobody got a problem with it. And when you say something about it, something's wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? That stuff ain't cool, man. Like the whole construct of whole society, man, is just all messed up, yo. All messed up. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't even cool, man. You know what I'm saying? When you sit back and look at it, that it's a lot of women out here dealing with straight up and down fags. Don't even know it. Cause the first chance that nigga get, he gonna take a penis in his butt. You know what I'm saying? And then you shocked when in actuality the nigga showing you he was a fag the whole time you were riding. I'm gonna tell you like this here. First time you know you got your old sweet booty nigga, nigga let you grab all on his booty, touch all on his booty, that nigga a faggot. Cause boy, ain't no real man finna let you walk up, you can walk up and grab his butt, play with his butt. No, he gonna turn around and slap fire from you, man. Ain't no real man play them type of game, man. Don't be touching all on my booty, man. Nigga walk up there and if you a woman, you can grab a nigga booty, he don't do nothing, he don't flinch, he don't move, he don't say stop playing, he cool with it. Yeah, you got your old sweet booty, boy. That nigga, he's an old catcher, he take it in the butt. You can bet that. You can bet that. Cause you got a man and he can grab his butt and that nigga ain't got no problem with it. Yeah, you don't care if that nigga come back and hit you with the sick penis. You don't care nothing about that nigga getting you no egg. I'm telling you, boy, that nigga around here dumpster diving. You can bet that. You know what I'm saying? I come from a different generation. We don't play those type of games. You know what I'm saying? Don't play with my booty, man. Don't touch my... Ain't nobody... The only time my butt ought to be touched is when I'm wiping it. That's either on the toilet or in the shower. It don't need to be touched now another time. You ain't got no business touching my buttocks. I told man, my homeboy say he came home, boy, he say his old lady tried to stick a finger in his booty. I said, why she tried you like that, bro? She kind of just came from up the road. No, she seen something where she felt like she could try you like that. You know what I'm saying? She seen something where she felt like she could try you like that. She wanted to see was you a man, or was you still a man? Because you in the society now, it's not cool to be a man no more. You know what the crazy part is? You got women telling men how to be a man. How can a woman tell a man how to be a man? And you know what the one part is? Sucker niggas listen to it. A sucker nigga will let a woman tell him how he's supposed to be a man. Man, sit your behind down somewhere. You can't tell me how to be no man. You a woman. You a woman. How can you tell me how a man, this is what a man's supposed to do? Really? How long you been one? You telling me what you want a man to do? Or you telling me what society done told you a man to do? Or you done told me what, or you telling me what you see these sucker niggas you deal with? Telling that you think that's what a man's supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of sucker niggas out here, man. Real live busters. You know what I'm talking about? And it's a lot of real live sucker niggas that a lot of women look at. Like my little homie say, man, niggas respect the wrong dudes. You know what I'm saying? You gotta watch out for a sucker nigga. Sucker niggas don't last long.
Hurry up, hurry up,
They fall real quick.
hurry up. Give him a look. Hurry up.
Come on. Hold on, y'all. Come on. Stop walking like you got doo-doo in your butt. Come on now. You trying to prolong the inevitable. Come on.
No.
All right, y'all. 5 and 18. We know that whosoever is born of Alahym sin not, but he that is begotten of Alahym keep himself, and that wicked one touch him not. And we know that we are of Alahym, and the whole world lie in wickedness. And we know that the Son of Alahym is coming, have given us an understanding that we may know him that is true, and that we are in him that is true, even his Son Yahushua HaMashiach. This is the true Alahym and eternal life. The reason why I read that there was to go back to opening up that gate, and then you turn around and look at John chapter 10 where Mashiach say what? I am the door. If any man, you can't, he said that gate can't be open but on the Shabbat, right? And on the new moon. He said only the prince is the one who can open it. And then the people can come in and worship right there at the threshold of the gate. You know what I'm saying? So the only way you can get to shamyim is, he said, can't no man get to the Father but what? But by me. See, look at Revelation 21 and 24. Only way you're going to get into this gate, to get into this rest, to even be able to be made new, you got to come in by the Son. How many people really trying to come in by him? Or you trying to circumvent him by saying you coming in by him, but you're not walking by him? Then we'll go back to Psalms 118 after this. It's 21 and 22 actually. Matter of fact, let's just make it 21 and 20. It says the fifth Sardonyx, the sixth Sadducee, will make it 19. And the foundation of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third a chalcedony, the fourth a emerald, the fifth a sardonyx, the sixth sardonyx, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth a topaz, the 10th a chrysoprase, the 11th a jacinth, and the 12th a amethyst. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was of one pearl, and the street of the city was pure gold, as it were transparent glass. And I saw no temple therein, for Yahuwah Alahym Almighty and the Lamb are the temple of it. And the city had no need of the sun, neither the moon to shine in it, for the esteem of Alahym did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof. Now it said that they would do this until the going down of the sun, right? When we read Ezekiel 46. But we know this the kingdom, and you see in the inner gate, you actually seeing that this is not talking about an actual physical temple. This is talking about you actually physically worshiping your Alahym in the day of rest and when you've been made new. Look at Revelation 20, 22 and 3, and you'll see what I'm talking about. He said, there shall be no more curse, but the throne of Alahym and of the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him, and they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads, and there shall be no night there, and they need no candle, neither light of the sun, for Yahuwah Alahym give them light, and they shall reign forever and ever. So you not realize when they coming up to this place that they actually like standing before Alahym? They standing right there before him. This is why you want to enter into the gates. To enter in the gates of righteousness will allow you to be with the man whom you say you love, though you have not seen him. You have not seen him. But this is where you want to be. You're supposed to have it in your mind that I want to be there with his name in my forehead where I can literally see his face. I don't think that's a lot of people objective at the end of the day. Come on back to Psalm 118. I need to finish that matter so I can move on. I came there for one thing, we done dealt with others. I'm going to read 20 again, 19 again. Open to me the gates of righteousness, and I will go into them, and I will praise Yahuwah. Man say, open up your soul to him, and I'll go into him, and I can praise Yah. This gate of Yahuwah into the which the righteous shall enter. You know what I'm saying? Now this man said, in Isaiah 35, right, said there'll be a highway there, the way of Kadesh, and the unclean and the fools will not enter therein. Only the righteous can enter in through this gate. Can't no sinner enter in through the gate. You know what I'm saying? So to enter in through the gate, you got to look at the two things that he said that when that inner gate is open, that's going to have to do. You're going to have to the Shabbat, which is rest, which we know Hebrews 4 say that you will cease from your own works like Alahym did from his. And then it say the new moon of Kadesh or to be renewed. You're going to have to be born again. In order to enter into this gate, to be considered to be the righteous, You're going to have to be born again, and you're going to have to stop doing your own way and your own will. It's the only way you're going to be able to get in. That's the only way that the windows of shamyim going to be open. Because Acts chapter 5 say the Ruach HaKodesh is a witness, and is given unto those that obey Yahusha. In order to obey the man told you, he gave you explicit commandment, you must be born again. He gave you explicit commandment. All you that labor and are heavy laden, come unto me and I will give you rest. Meaning you're going to have to cease from your behavior, your pattern, your ways, your wants, your desires, and make your ways, wants, and desires to be the desires of the man whom you profess to be your Alahym. Then he can open up the firmament. Then he can open up the gate and rain down the water from Shamahim that you might be saved. Because we already read, he say Noah of them was saved by water, right? Even though they was in that ark, they were saved by water. As a form of immersion. To sit back and say, nah, Lizzie really wild.
This is every night.
Yeah, I know.
I go back there, she gonna ask for some water.
Yeah.
No, she does the screaming.
Yeah. Like, come on. Right now.
She does the screaming for me. I go back
Hold on,
there, like, can you have some water?
Yeah, y'all got Lizzie back there yet, calling for her daddy. And she ain't stopping. You know what I'm saying? But sit back and think about that. And we're finna go back to Genesis chapter 1 right now. In order to sit back and realize
What?
to get what we desire, to enter into that gate. Yeah. To get into that gate is to get the water. Because he opened up Shamahim. Now when we read in Acts chapter 2, he said that the Ruach came down and looked like tongues of fire. You know what I'm saying? But that's opening up the gates of Shamahim and raining down the gift. That's why it says we look for the early and latter rain. You know what I'm saying? You looking to be for the gates of Shamahim to be open, or the firmament to be open. I didn't read the next verse that I wanted. Verse 21. He said, I will praise thee, for thou hast heard me, and art become my salvation. The stone which the builders refused is the headstone of the corner. This is Yahuwah's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. So when we turn around and look at it, the firmament being a flat, paved place to have your whole faith built upon. Let's look at Ephesians chapter 2, and let's knock that out now.
Night, Leah.
2 and 17. 2 and 19, actually.
Oh,
Ephesians 2 and 19.
No, 74.
Now therefore you are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the Kadeshim and of the household of Alahym, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and the prophets, Yahushua HaMashiach himself being the chief cornerstone, and whom all the building fitly framed together grow into a Kadesh temple in the master, in whom you are also builded together for a habitation of Alahym through the Ruach. Do you not realize that the firmament is the actual habitation to the things that are placed in it? Because what did he say he made the firmament? Right? Let's go back to Genesis 1 and 14 to look at it. He said he made the firmament, that he placed things in the firmament.
Be quiet. Michael.
1 and 14. Hush, bro. Alahym said, let there be lights in the firmament of Shamahim to divide the day from night, and let them be for signs and for seasons, and for days and for years, and let them be lights in the firmament of Shamahim to give light upon the earth, and it was so. So we sit back and look at the light. The firmament is the habitation for the lights that are in Shamahim here, right? That's where you sit back and look at it, to be firmly built on that flat, paved surface. Because that man say, he that do my words, hear my words and do them, I liken him to as man as what? Who built this house on what? A rock. You know what I'm saying? When you sit back and look at a rock or a stone, when you look at the foundation that's laid in the building, what is it? It's a smooth, flat surface. That's what it is, right? And then you calmly build the building upon what? That foundation. Well, when you look at Shamahim, as that is the habitation, or the flat surface. So you look at Shamahim as being New Jerusalem when you look up at it. Let's look at Revelation 3 and 12 to back that up. So when you look at the firmament as being New Jerusalem, then you can see how that's the gate of where you're trying to enter into. You understand what I'm saying? Because you're trying to get on high to be made eternal. 3 and 12. Make it 10. Matter of fact, let's look at like verse 8. He said, I know thy works. Revelation 3 and 8. I know thy works. Behold, I set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Yahudim and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience. You see what he said? Hamashiach had to wait to receive his gift. Not only he had to wait 3.5 years, you know what I'm saying, to what he had to do to fulfill the book. Then he had to go through his temptations, with that. So he had to be patient to endure temptation. That's why he say, brethren, count them all blessed who endure temptation. Because that man endured temptation 3.5 years. He said that in Luke 22, you are those who are with me in my temptations. Remember, he said he was tempted like as we are, yet without sin. You know what I'm saying? So you're dealing with the word. This is a word of patience. You have to be able to patiently endure. You know what I'm talking about? See, that's what people don't sit back and realize here. That's what we sit back looking at when I read this here. I think I read this to a few of them. I'm going to read it to all y'all right now. If I didn't read it to everybody and it was on tape, I put it on there now. But this is say that there were reasons written in here would say why people give up. And the first thing it had on there is that people expect fast results. And when the results don't come quickly, they stop. You know what I'm talking about? And when it comes with the word, when people do not get the desired result that they want when they want it, what do? They give up. They quit. Or they stop believing in themselves. When you look at most people with the word, they no longer believe that they can endure. They no longer believe because they might have did this or did that. They don't sit back and look at what's the point. But in actuality, they ain't stopped believing in themselves. They stop believing in Yahuwah. So they can do what they want to do. The next one is they get stuck in the past. Well, most people give up because you sit back and you look at all the evil that you did in the past and you look like, what's the point? It's still going. If y'all got you alive, leave that past. Whatever sin you did, leave it alone. And keep it pushing. Don't meddle with it no more. What's the next thing? Dwell on mistakes. You sit back and look at you done messed up. This what make you quit. Or you fear the future. See, some people fear success. Remember I told you about that there? I'm telling you, that's a real live problem for a lot of people because they feel like they can't handle it. You know what I'm saying? Or that they say resist change. A lot of people don't want to change. So that would make them quit. Because you actually don't want to change. See, remember you got to be born again. So when you're resisting to be born again, to change your heart and to change your mind, to rend your heart and not your garments and come to the man with fasting and weeping and mourning, people resist that. Go right back to the sin. Or they give up their power. Why do more people give up? They give up on Yah. Because Yah is your power and your strength. They give up on Him. Or they believe in their weaknesses. When you sit back and you believe, well, I'm in this flesh, I'm always going to sin. I got a bad mind, I can't stop. I'm weak for this here. What's the point? I might as well go and do it.
Sit.
What's the next thing? Feel the world owe them something. That's what mess a lot of Hebrews up. Because they feel like all this stuff you white folks did, they feel like these people owe you something. Or they feel like y'all owe you something. But don't nobody owe you nothing. I thank y'all for one thing, but my mama and auntie taught me that from a small child. But the world don't owe you nothing. Don't nobody owe you nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's a sign of an immature mind when you feel like somebody owe you something. You know what I'm talking about? A mature-minded person, that's what I'm sitting there telling you, I be telling you, you can't sit back and look at, somebody, because you don't know what people been taught, their experiences, and they take that stuff with them. They ain't matured or grown up out of it. They still thinking like this. Or fear failure more than desire success. People will sit back and look at, they most scared of they not going to make it. And they don't have the desire to do what's necessary to make it in the kingdom. You can sit back and look at it on spiritual and natural things. This is what causes them to quit. You know what I'm saying? Then you got never visualize what is possible. You got to see yourself doing something. If you can see yourself resisting the flesh, then you can do it. Just like I told y'all before, I go in the gym, I see myself picking this weight up off the floor. Even if I ain't able to pick it up off the floor that day. You know what I'm saying? I done actually seen myself deadlift 400 pounds numerous times. Ain't did it yet, but I'm going to get it though. Because I can see myself doing it. If you cannot literally see yourself doing something, you're not going to accomplish it. If you can't see yourself doing what's necessary to get in the kingdom, how you gonna make it if you can't even see it? I ain't talking about visualizing what he gonna give you, but actually see yourself accomplish. That's why most people don't accomplish anything, because they don't visualize themselves being successful. You got to see, even if you don't hit the mark, which I ain't talking about with the word now, but we know we got to hit that mark. You know what I'm saying? But even if you don't hit the mark or something you seen yourself doing, that doesn't, you won't quit because I know I can do this. I seen myself do this. I know I can do this. What do I need to correct so I can do it? You know what I'm saying? Then you turn around and look at the next thing, right? They feel they have something to lose. What you got to lose? What you got to lose? You ain't got nothing to lose but your soul. So you might as well just keep going. But you know what both people want to lose? They want to lose their lustful desires. They want to lose their wants. They don't want to use the things that they feel is right in their own eyes. The next thing it says you overworked. The next thing it says they assume their problems are unique. Well, you know, Peter had already told you, he said, brethren, the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that's in the world. Don't think it's a strange thing that's happening to you. You know what I'm saying? Don't think that you just you the only person that's happening to you. This has happened to whomever seeks to be saved in the name of Yahuwah by way of our Master Yahushua HaMashiach. So don't think what you're dealing with is just unique and peculiar to you. They see failure as the signal to turn back, or they feel sorry for themselves. You see yourself not doing something, you think, well, I ain't gonna make it. Might as well go back to what I was doing.
I see ya.
We got to sit back to allow that those type of thoughts never enter into our mind, that we don't never sit back and look at that. Because like the writer in Hebrews said, we are not of those who go back under perdition, but we are those that believe to the saving of the soul. We don't believe in none of that going back. See, you sit back and look at, I ain't going back to the world, but if you committing sin and have these lustful desires and you partaking in them, you have went back to the world because you're doing the things that are of the world. If you of Alahym, you're going to resist the things of the world. You're not going to seek your own heart, your own way, and your own doings. You're going to seek Yahuwah's way and his doings and his heart. And the only way you're going to be able to do that there is you're going to want him to open up that gate for you. A lot of people don't want that gate opened up to them. That's why they're not going to get it. Verse 10 again, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly, hold fast that which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Him that overcome will I make a pillar in the temple of my Alahym. He shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my Alahym, and the name of the city of my Alahym, which is New Jerusalem, which come down out of Shamyim from my Alahym, and I will write upon it my new name. So if we sit back and look at that, the firmament is the foundation of the pavement, or the house that we built on, and we realize the house that we built on in New Jerusalem, we look at that our habitation is in Shamyim. When you look up at the firmament, that's what you said. This is where my habitation is. This is the place that I desire to dwell. The place that's eternal. So now we sit back and look at that the sun is set in Shamyim. So let's look at Malachi 4 and 2 on that. And then after that, Hebrews 1 and 1. I hope that makes sense for everybody. Malachi 4 and 2. Make it 4 and 1. I hope it makes sense for everybody. I hope it don't seem jumbled up, crazy and nonsensical. For behold, the day come that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that comes shall burn them up, saith Yahuwah of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and you shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. And you shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet, in the day that I shall do this, saith Yahuwah of hosts. Now he say the Son of Righteousness is going to come to you. He say he set the sun in the firmament for a sign in the season, right? Now I want you all sit back and look at something. Robert just mentioned what it say. Hamashiach say that you should know the times and the seasons, right? You know what I'm saying? So when you sit back and you look at the sun, you should be able to know the times and the seasons of what are going to occur and what is going to happen. But let's look at Hebrews 1:1 to show you how the sun is set in the firmament. My water, excuse me, y'all. There it is. Well, she done told you to stop one time too many, cuz. Alahym, who at sundry times and diverse manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets, having these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heirs of all things, by whom also he made the worlds, who being the brightness of his esteem, and the express image of his person, and upholding all things by the word of his power, when he had by himself purged our sins, sat down on the right hand of majesty on high. When you sit back and you look at Mashiach ascending back into Shamyim, is he not planted back in the firmament to be a sign? Like I told y'all before, when you see the sun going up, going down and coming up, that's showing you the resurrection, the death and resurrection of Mashiach, the mercy of Yah right there. The sun is set right there in the firmament as a sign for you to know that he came to give light upon the whole earth. Not that Egyptian stuff. You know what I'm talking about? We talking about sitting back realizing that the sun, the natural S-U-N, is a natural representation of the son of Alahym. And the light, because he said, I'm the light of the world. He said, if a man abide in me, he know where he going. But then even still, he turned around and say he gave a lesser light by night. Now we ain't even gonna sit back and say that this is the, because we don't sit back and see that this, we can use that to back up what Paul said about Satan transformed into an angel of light, because we know ain't no truth in it. And we know the book says if you ain't speaking according to the law and the testimony, ain't no light in you. Which means there ain't no eternal life in them. But then we're gonna turn around and look at the moon is representative of who? Of Yasharal. She reflects the light of Mashiach onto the whole world. You know what I'm saying? That the whole world, that even in the midst of darkness, that this world see light. Because that's why he said we know the whole world lieth in wickedness. And we are not of the world. So even though the world is lying in wickedness, they lying in darkness. When they see the children of Yasharal, we give light unto them because we are lesser light. You know what I'm talking about? Compared to the sun. When we look at it in the family aspect, because we're going to look at it in Genesis 37 way. But Psalms 104. Matter of fact, Psalm 19 first. Just about verse 1 and 2. That's all I want. I've been thinking about this here for a little minute. Psalms 19 and 1. Alahym 19. It says, the Shamyim declare the esteem of Alahym, and the firmament show his handiwork. Day unto day utter speech, and night unto night show knowledge. There is no speech, nor language where the voice is not heard. The line is gone out of throughout all the earth, and their words unto the end of the world. In them have he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoice as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of Shamyim, and his circuit unto the ends of it, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. Now this is a too cold thing. This is a lot of stuff you just heard right there, right? But you see how he say the Shamyim declare the esteem of Alahym? So when you turn around and you look up there and you see the S-U-N in the sky, that declares Yahushua HaMashiach. When you turn around and you see that moon, that declares the seed of Yasharal. When you turn around and you see them stars, that declares the sons of the living Alahym. You know what I'm talking about? That's what that declares. He said this is his handiwork. He said we are the work of his hands. This is what he said about Yasharal. You are the work of my hands. I formed you from the womb and carried you from the belly. You know what I'm talking about? He said, I'm the potter and you the clay. Look at Romans chapter 9 when he sit back where he tell you that. You hold this Psalms 19 though. 19 and 20. Romans 9, I said 19, Romans 9 and 20, because it definitely ain't no 19 and no Romans. I lost my page trying to pull that chart up. And it says, Nay, but O man, who art thou to reply against Alahym? Shall the thing formed to say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Have not the potter over the clay of the same lump that made one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? What if Alahym, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction, and that he might make known the riches of his esteem on the vessels of mercy, which he had afore prepared unto esteem? You see what I'm telling you? He formed you with his hand. You his handiwork. You are his handiwork. We all to be conformed to the image of his son. You his handiwork. Come on back to Psalm 19. So when you sit back and you look at it, he say the firmament show his handiwork. Now we sit back and look at the firmament is the pavement of which all these things in shamyim are placed. The sun, the moon, and the stars are placed in these places. This is the handiwork of Yahuwah. So he say day unto day utter speech. Night unto night show knowledge. There's no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. What do you think it could mean there's no speech and no language where their voice is not heard? All this take you right back into Acts chapter 2 when they were speaking in all these people's tongue. He say ain't no speech or language where they not heard. Ain't no speech or language where they not heard. The word Alahym is going to get out regardless. It's going to get out regardless. Listen what the next thing he said now. The line has gone out through all the earth, the worlds to the end of the earth, and them have he set a tabernacle for the sun. He told them, go into the earth what? And preach what I teach all nations, what I told you then. He said, and then he set a tabernacle for the sun. He set a house for the sun to dwell. Sun is sitting right up there in shamyim at his right hand. He done set a place for him to dwell. He dwelled in the tabernacle in shamyim to make intercession forever on your behalf. Night unto night he speak knowledge. Day unto day his voice is uttered. The word is being moved regardless, whether you see it or not. He said when the bridegroom come out of the chamber, the strong man, he said his end is going forth is from the end of shamyim, his circus unto the ends of it. There's nothing hid from the heat thereof. When you look at ain't nothing hid from the heat thereof, you know this man is coming back. Look at 2 Peter chapter 3. Ain't nothing hid from the heat thereof. This thing going from one end of shamyim to the other. That's why he say every eye gonna see him. He say ain't nothing gonna be hid from the heat. Ain't nowhere they gonna be able to run. 2 Peter 3 and 10, man. 2 Peter 3 and 10. But the day of the master will come as a thief of the night, in which the shamyim shall pass away with great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and all the works that are therein shall be burnt up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all Kadesh behavior and godliness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of Alahym, where the shamyim shall be, being on fire, shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. You see what he's sitting back burning up that shamyim? Because I'm going to make all things new. I'm going to make a new place for my people to dwell. I'm going to pass away these things. That's why he say come in the new moon and on the Shabbat. See, you got to have to sit back and have that confidence. Listen to what Peter finna tell you. Nevertheless, we according to his promise look for the new shamyim and newer rats wherein dwell righteousness. See, under this shamyim and on this earth, there is no righteousness. See, he say that we that are of the promise, this is what we look toward. This is our hope and our confidence. This is what we waiting on. You know what I'm saying? So because this is what your hope and your confidence is, and guess what you're going to be willing to do? You're going to be willing to afflict yourself and to abstain. You're going to be willing to be born again, and you're going to be willing to rest from your own labors. You're not going, you know how many people sit back and try to fit what they want to do in with the word? You know what I'm saying? How you going to try to twist the word to fit your life instead of making your life fit the word? That's the biggest mistake that most people make. Because we try to, he told you in Isaiah 58 to sit back, he say not to seek your own pleasure and your own will on my Kadesh Shabbat, but to call it delightful, honorable unto Yahuwah. Well, we're supposed to look at every day we supposed to be resting in the Shabbat. Not on that corny Christian stuff, but we know on Shabbat we cease from our own labors to rest in Yahuwah in all our dwellings. Well, we supposed to sit back and know that we supposed to be keeping the Shabbat continually, resting in Yahuwah in our dwellings or in our physical tabernacles, ceasing from our own labors, ceasing from sin, resting in Mashiach, because that's what he said he came to do, is to give you rest. He said he set a place for a tabernacle for the son to be in. He set a place for his people to dwell. That's why he said, in my father's house there's many mansions. I go to prepare a place for you. Why do you think he told you that if he said he set a tabernacle in the shamyim for the son? Why do you think the father's son would come back around and tell you, in my father's house there's many mansions? Because he already set a tabernacle for me. I'm going to make a tabernacle for you. I'm going to prepare somewhere for you to dwell at. That's why he say open the gates so I might come in. I'm trying to open it up so you can come in. But it's things you're going to have to do to be able to come in. You can sit back and look at it. You ain't gonna want to come sit in somebody who got an old dirty house.
Stop.
But yet you got a dirty house and you want y'all to come step in your house. You got roaches and rats running around in your house. Dirty drawers everywhere. It's just filth. And this is where you want y'all to come dwell at. You know what I'm saying? You got to clean that place up. You clean it up, now he can come dwell in that place. That's all he wants is for you to prepare a habitation for him to dwell. Your Alahym desires nothing more other than to dwell in you. That's his most utmost desire. His desire is to be able to dwell in you. He said, I will walk in them and dwell in them, and I will be their Alahym, and they shall be my people. You got to sit back and look at it. How strong is your faith? How powerful is your desire? How strongly do you believe the promise? Let's just put it that way. How strongly do you believe the promise? How strongly do you trust in Yahuwah? How strongly do you trust to walk in the power of Alahym to be able to dwell in that tabernacle? Because it's going to take the power of Alahym for you to dwell there. How else she going to dwell there? How is she going to get in that firmament? We'll sit back and look at it. The firmament is the foundation of the similitude of the kingdom. The people who are going to be dwelling in the kingdom is the son, Yasharal, and the children of Alahym. Let's look at Galatians chapter 4, back up what I'm talking about. Yeah, you got hit.
6.
4 and 25, 4 and 24. I ain't gonna get much of Psalms 104 today. Y'all willing to just deal with it on tomorrow. Even when we turn around and we sit back and look at it, talking about those mountains, those two mountains that we looked at on Tuesday and Wednesday. You know, mountains are up high, right? So we looking at again being built on two places that are high. You know what I'm saying? And then the things that would take for us to be able to dwell there. Or those blessings or those curses that were placed there, or the things that would be able to have to be done. You know what I'm saying? And it's things that have to be able to be done for us to dwell in Shamyim. It's things that have to be done for us to be able to become a son of Alahym. And you have to sit back and look at, we all know it, and we sit back and talk about, all of us know the song Troy God, he say, you know what I'm saying, we just want to make it, right? The Hashemayim, you want to make it to the firmament, the foundation, the gate. That's where you want to make it to. New Jerusalem is where you're supposed to want to make it to. Well, if this is where you want to make it to, and we're going to sit back and look at it in a moment. The sons of Alahym are fixed in the firmament. They shine like stars in Shamyim, fixed in the house of Alahym. This man just said that the kingdom will have no need for darkness in it because Yahuwah Alahym will be the light of it and the land is the light thereof. Ain't going to be no more darkness because all darkness shall be extinguished. That lesser light will be moved. All this sitting back talking about dividing the light from the day. You know what I'm saying? It's going to have to be a separation. Those that are of the darkness, they're not going to dwell in the firmament. Why do you not think that he gets rid of the moon and the things that are of darkness at this time? Because there ain't going to be no need for it. These things are going away. I done made all things new. He said there'd be no more death and no more pain. Well, he done already conquered him that had power over death. That is the devil. Why would he be in the kingdom of Shamyim though? Why would it be the things of the night? Why would they be there? Why would the things of death and sin, why would they be there? 4 and 25. 24, my apologies. Galatians. Which things are an allegory for these two covenants, the one from Mount Sinai, which gender unto bondage, which is Agar. For this Agar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, in answer to Jerusalem, which now is and is in bondage with her children. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. So when you turn around and you sit back and look at it, Jerusalem, which is above, that's the mother of us all. The firmament is which is of above. That's the place you're supposed to sit back saying, this is where I need to be. That's why you say set your affections on the things that be in shamyim and not the things that are on the rest. Why are we setting our affections on the things of the earth and not the things that are on high? Why are our affections set on that? Why are we not desiring the things that would make us eternal? Psalms 104. Psalms 104 and 1. So what do you say? Bless Yahuwah, O my soul. O Yahuwah my Alahym, thou art very great, thou art clothed with honor and majesty. Who cover thyself with a light as with a garment. Who stretch out the shamyim like a curtain. Who lay the beams of his chambers in the waters. Who make the clouds of his chariot. Who walk upon the wings of the wind. Who make his malachim ruachs, his ministers of flaming fire. You know, when I was looking at this earlier, you know what they say? You know, another word for malachim is messengers, right? Say he make his messengers of flaming fire. Now I want you to turn around and I want you to look at Malachi chapter 2 real fast, about verse 7. You know, that's something that Jeremiah said. Jeremiah said his word was like a fire in me, and shut up, he couldn't stay. Then we know when the Ruach came down upon the apostles, it was as a fire, wasn't it? We know that he told, you know that John the Baptist says, one that come to me that baptized with fire. So you sit back and realize when he put the word on, you'll be on fire for it. That he'll make his messengers, give them the Ruach of fire, or place that within them. So the reason why he say that. He say, for the priest's lips should keep knowledge. This is Malachi 2 and 7. And they should seek the law at his mouth, for he is the messenger of Yahuwah of hosts. Those that have the word, they supposed to be a messenger of Yahuwah of hosts. I mean, it's supposed to be a fire in them. Because he said he make his ministers, or his malachim, ministers or servants of fire. Because the word come to try and burn all things up. See, let's sit back and look at something Paul said in 1 Corinthians chapter 3. We're finna get ready to wrap this up anyway. Just stop it wrong in a minute. But we got to work them stars in. And then we'll deal with the rest most high willing on tomorrow. 1 Corinthians chapter 3. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, the verses that we need here. About verse 12. Matter of fact, make it about 10 is even better. It says, according to the favor of Alahym, which is given unto me as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, another build thereon, but every man take heed how he build thereupon. For other foundation can no man lay that is laid, which is Yahushua HaMashiach. We sit back looking at the firmament is the foundation of the Shamyim. Can't nobody other person lay that foundation other than Yahushua, because we know that all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made. Now, if any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble, every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire. And the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. If a man's work abide, which he hath built thereupon, he shall receive a reward. If any man's work shall be burnt, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet so as by fire. See, when that word come and that fire come, was really to sit back and say he making his ministers of flames of fire. To be able to make them a flame of fire, you got to be tried by the fire. You got to be taken through that furnace of affliction. You got to be able to take that heat. When that word come in, that word is like a heat and it purges your heart. You know what I'm saying? Fire removes all impurities. That's why afflictions are necessary. Not just the afflictions of going through the afflictions of life, but the denying yourself of the things of the flesh and of this world. This is how you can be able to be made pure. That's why most people give up. Because why suffer? It's easier to indulge. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's easier to sin because it doesn't take any effort to do it. You know what I'm saying? It takes effort to discipline yourself and not to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's easier to quit than to have the mental fortitude to keep going. You know what I'm saying? We have to stop looking for the easy way out. Just like when I was talking to Glove about this earlier today, right? With somebody we know. Like, you get out what you put in. You know what I'm saying? You can't cheat the hustle, man. You can't cheat the grind, man. If you don't put nothing into it, you're not going to get nothing out of it. You know what I'm saying? If you put something into it, then you're going to get something out of it. You know what I'm saying? If you saying you want to save your soul, then you got to stop looking for the easy way out. And you're going to have to put something into it. And when you lay something into it, then you can be able to reap the benefit of what you say you want to do. Which means it's going to take a consistent daily effort of resisting the world and the flesh to get out what you putting in. Most people don't get out what they put in because they're not putting nothing in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Now, get me wrong. Y'all forbid, all of us done sit back and may even been in a situation yourself where you done put into something and you didn't get nothing out. You know what I'm saying? But then what you ain't realize, you did get something out of it. It was the experience that you should have been learning from whatever that was. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be willing to put forth the effort to get something out of whatever it is that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And to be able to get through that, it's going to be difficult. When I say difficult, I mean it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be smooth. Because the things that are, if something come too easy, I tell you it ain't worth having because it's not going to last long. You know what I'm saying? It will abide for a small time, but eventually it's going to crumble. You know what I'm saying? If that's with anything, man. Anything in life, man, if stuff just come too easy, like you see some people, they be like, boy, stuff seem easy for them, but they don't actually know all the hard work that they put in to make what looks hard look easy. You know what I'm saying? Because they were working hard to prepare themselves for it. But when you come across something and it just goes smooth and it go easy and all that there, eventually it's not big, it's not made to last. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be something that's going to last for the long term. It's a stopgap measure. It's temporary. You know what I'm saying? We have to sit back and stop looking for temporary pleasure. Stop looking for instant gratification. Stop looking for crutches. Stop looking for what's going, it's basically like this here. Don't give up what you want most for what you want right now. Because you can get what you want right now, but then you're going to end up losing both. Because then what you want right now, you're going to get tired of it because you know that's not what you really wanted long term. And then you're going to turn around and what you wanted most, you know you're going to end up with nothing. Because you thought you could have your cake and eat it too. You can't have both. If you know it's something that you really, really want, then you need to go after that versus what you want right now. See, discipline is doing what you got to do when you don't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Being successful is doing the things that you need to do when you don't feel like doing them. You got to have that type of mind frame. That's why he say he make his ministers, he make his messengers, he makes his servants flames of fire. Because he say, look at Acts chapter 1. That man say he's going to baptize you with fire. With fire. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be a purging. You make that there, you can become a son then. You get Daniel chapter 12 too, man. Get ready to wrap this on up. Run that end of the Genesis 1. Swing it back round to Matthew 13. I ain't gonna take too much more of your time.
Two, three.
Hold on, let's go ahead and Matthew chapter 3 because he don't say it in Acts chapter 1. Not that I'm looking for.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 5.
3 and 8.
1, 2, 3.
Matthew 3 and 8. Bring forth therefore fruits meet for repentance, and think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our father. For I say unto you that Alahym is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham. And now also the axe is laid unto the root of the trees. Therefore every tree which bring not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. I indeed baptize you with water unto repentance, but he that come after me is mightier than I, whose shoes I am not worthy to bear. He shall baptize you with the Ruach HaKodesh and with fire, to make you a messenger. You gotta sit back and realize to be a messenger is to carry a word. You can carry the word in you without preaching. You know what I'm saying? Just your lifestyle is a message. You know what I'm talking about? And he gonna have to purge you to make you a flame of fire. Come on back to Psalm 104, Daniel chapter 12.
Okay.
12 and 1, I suppose.
Why taste no? Why taste? Okay. Why? Cause grandpa. Because grandpa.
12 and 1, man. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince will stand for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, and some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. But they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. You see, he say many that be wise shall shine as brightness in the firmament. We know the brightness in the firmament is what? The sun, the moon, and the stars. So when you manifest the wisdom of Yahuwah, which is the fear of Yah, this man say you will shine in the firmament, meaning you'll be built in the house. You'll be built in the house. Now I'm going to sit back and I'm going to show you something. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 1, y'all know what it is. But just listen to what it tells you, because he says to divide the light from the day. I mean the day from the night, my apologies. It's to make a difference. There has to be a difference. But we'll go straight to the root of the matter in 5 and 5. Ye are children of the light, and the darkness of the day. We are not of the night nor of the darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep shall sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for a helmet the hope of salvation. You know what I'm saying? Make a separation, a delineation between the two. If you're going to stand with sin, then stand with sin. If you're going to stand with righteousness, then stand with righteousness. If you're going to sit back and be of the day, then be of the day. It's got to be a difference. That's why he say the children of the devil say commit sin. He's saying this, we know the children of the devil and the children of Alahym, because the children of Alahym don't commit sin. So there's going to be a difference between the light and the day, because the children of the night, there's nothing in shamyim, there's nothing in there's nothing in shamyim in the firmament for them to be placed in. They don't have a place in the kingdom. That which is flesh, and that which is ruach. There's no place for them there. That's why you turn around and you see the new shamyim and the new arrest, and there is no moon, there is no darkness there, because all sin and all sinners shall be eradicated out of the earth. There's no place for them. Look at Philippians 2 and 15.
No, sit down.
Make it about verse 13. Make it 12, matter of fact. Wherefore, my beloved, as you has always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. You sit back and look at his apostles obeyed, right? Even in his presence. But they even the more they got to obey even in his absence. He said, for Alahym which work in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. If Alahym is in you, he said he made his Malachim flames of fire. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if he flame of fire, he said your Alahym is a consuming fire. That Ruach can set him on up. That means he's working in you to do his good will. Do all things without murmuring and disputings, that you may be blameless and harmless, the sons of Alahym without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom you shine as lights in the world. Because remember, right, he set the lights in the firmament to divide the day from the night. So you sitting back looking at the stars and the sun sit in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, whom they shine as lights in the world. He's sitting back showing you this, that when you sit back and you look at it and you see the sun and you see the stars at nighttime and you see them stars up there at nighttime and it's dark outside, and that's supposed to be representative of us as shining lights in the middle of a crooked and perverse people. That even in the midst of sinners, this man's word is made manifest. If that makes sense. Matthew 13. We'll stop it right there, man. and 37. My soul. He answered and said unto them, he that sowed the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil, and the harvest is the end of the world. And the reapers are the Malachim. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be at the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his Malachim, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend and them which do iniquity. And they shall cast them into a furnace of fire, and there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who have ears to hear, let him hear. You see how he say the righteous will shine forth like the sun in the kingdom of their Father? The same way he say he set a tabernacle for the sun in Shamyim. Same way the firmament is the foundation of Shamyim, and he set the sun, the moon, and the stars in it. So we didn't get to the moon aspect of it, showing how that's Yasharal, tying that to Genesis 37 and the dream that Joseph had, but he saw the sun and the moon and 11 stars. You know what I'm saying? Jacob, Rachel, and their children. You know what I'm talking about? Or Yahusha, Yasharal, and the sons of Alahym, which goes back to, I call their name Adam, and they were one, and the children coming forth from them when he died. You know what I'm talking about? All this stuff here going together as one, to sit back and show that we're supposed to be a light amongst all these people. And then we're supposed to sit back and look at that. Looking at the firmament gives us the mind that this is the kingdom. This is what I desire to dwell. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm built upon, because it means a flat space or pavement or a foundation. You know what I'm saying? A stone. I want to be built on the things that's in Shamyim. I want to be built on the things that's eternal. I want to be built on the foundation of the apostles and the chief cornerstone, Yahushua HaMashiach, to be fitly framed, to be built as a Kadesh temple, because it said clearly in Revelation 21 that the tabernacle of Alahym is coming down from Shamyim. So we sit back and looking at the firmament is a sign of, because it said the Shamyim declares handiwork. So when you're looking at the firmament and the suns and the stars dwelling in the firmament, which to give light upon the earth, you turn around looking at, I see the kingdom of Shamyim and the children of the faith, the children of Mashiach, who are the same as the faithful children of Abraham, who received the promise, dwelling in the new kingdom. Hallelujah for Yahusha and the word. Y'all understood this stuff this evening. I hope it made sense.